Despite the progressive laws, women and girls in Uganda face significant barriers in reporting gender-based violence, with many cases handled by informal systems that often favor men. However, as Uganda joins the rest of the world to celebrate the International Women's Day, advocates for women's rights are putting focus on how best women and girls can best access justice in Uganda's judicial systems amidst spiral challenges like economic and social barriers. This has attracted high costs of legal representation and transport to urban court centers that hinder access for justice to many women and girls who cannot afford.
Legal aid service providers that has been available. We must also credit the government, the state, for the work that they have done around ensuring that policy, we do have the Domestic Violence Act in place, we have an FGM Act in place.
We also have the Legal Aid Bill 2022, which is a law intended to ensure that every vulnerable person, a woman, a girl, gets justice through legal representation, effective and quality.
Kemigisha Elizabeth is the advocate manager, Uganda Association of Women Lawyers, FIDA, says the increase of cases of gender-based violence reported by women and girls pose an imminent threat to their lives.
Many people may not report, because of fear of stigma, because of fear that they may not get the solution they want, because of fear that the system may not be able to agree with them.
At the epicenter of limited access to justice for women in Uganda are cultural norms. These are deeply ingrained patriarchy practices like wife sharing and widow inheritance that continues to undermine women's rights. In the temple of justice in Uganda, often courts are open. Women and girls are seen in the corridors attempting to seek for justice, but their efforts at the tail end are shut down by legal fees and the sophisticated court procedures.
Today, that justice is seeking justice is very expensive. You need to pay money. For example, if you need to have witnesses come to testify and give evidence for your case, women are not able to access justice because the language of court is frowned upon. The language of court is known to only a few.
Several areas in certain, especially upcountry districts, we have seen cultural norms, especially the power the power that cultural leaders enjoy, sometimes not being used positively, right? We've seen instances where bride price is returned actually after a separation or a divorce.
On the other side is the systematic gaps that contribute to a significant case backlog in the formal court system, along with low levels of legal literacy among women that hampers justice.
For example, if it's a case of defilement and this case has been in court for 5, 6, 7 years, the victim or the survivor is now an adult. We are not sure if the evidence is still preserved.
You will find that in courts of law, you'll find that majority of the cases or the suspects on remand, when you ask them to stand, you will see majority are being charged with defilement. They defiled, but the cases are languishing in what? In the system. And that means the women are not getting justice.
Miss the issue of corruption. Corruption has also continued to be an issue. And many times it's because of either ignorance of people or because of lack of confidence in the system.
Trekking long distances to access judicial facilities like courts, serving vast regions with few judicial officers who appear once or twice a week in hard-to-reach areas of Uganda has in one way or the other affected the accessibility of justice to women and girls.
There's a gap in the judiciary. Currently, FIDA is operating in that region where there is Pakwach, Yumbe, Madiokolo and Zombo, and they are using the one chief magistrate's court in Nebi. And all those areas, we know because of the locations, because of the socio-economic status there, people are unable to access justice because there's only one court.
The limited knowledge of police investigators to handle forensic cases of sexual abuse and murder have affected evidence adduced before the Directorate of Public Prosecution, DPP, often on account of tampering with the scene of crime, either knowingly or unknowingly, hence affecting accessibility to fair justice for women and girls who are always victims in the circumstance.
The Child and Family Protection Units or the GBV desks at the police stations need to be very well equipped. Very well equipped. Number one, with capacitated officers, with officers that are aware about, investigating these cases in a survivor-centered way that will not further victimize the complainant.
We still have clients that are demanded for 25,000 shillings for the police form 3, which is critical evidence in especially sexual violence cases. And that's so absurd.
Despite the challenges at play, there are alternative avenues that women and girls in Uganda can explore to access justice.
It's plea bargaining. And plea bargaining is very important, especially for reducing case backlog.
Between different families in succession matters as they, on their route to access maybe letters of administration. So mediation, and both mediations at FIDA and court annexed mediations have also been very important.
However, the possibility to protect citizens' rights remains with government through constructing court premises across the country for easy accessibility of judicial services.
It's a big part of our budget goes to security, but domestic violence and GBV is also a matter of security. But how much of that goes to the GBV unit, for example, at the police headquarters?
If police has a role to play in enforcement of the law, they should not hide under, we don't have resources, we have not received this vote. They should be able to push and get those resources in their budget and planning. They should be able to prioritize investigating cases of gender-based violence.
Important for us to handle the issue of backlog, invest more sessions, more special sessions in the different regions to be able to clear backlog. More mobile legal aid clinics.
Efforts to improve access to justice for women and girls in Uganda will include, among other entitles, the UN Women Justice for Her project and the legal aid services from organizations like FIDA Uganda, which focus on providing free legal representation and combating gender-based violence. I'm Nanfuka Faridah in Kampala.